Hello. We are going to be starting a new book this semester. It's called When the Soldiers Were Gone by Vera Propp. Now, I know some of you will want to read this book to yourself. That's okay. And I know some people like to listen to someone else read. That's okay too. Whatever's best for you. Some people also like to follow along in your book while you listen. That's fine. Really, whatever works for you. I just wanted to give you an option other than just reading. I did see that this book is on Audible. If you want to listen to it on Audible, if you have an account, that's another option. But this option is free and it's right here. Okay, When the Soldiers Were Gone by Vera Propp. And this is a story of a boy that it's held during World War II. So this is the 1940s. So that's a long time ago, over 70 years ago. And he's a little boy who finds out a secret. So let's see what happens in chapter 1. Chapter 1 is called Strangers. And we know what strangers are, right? Strangers are people that you don't know. So this almost sounds like it could be a scary chapter. Let's find out. Chapter 1, Strangers. Hank, come here, Papa called. He did not sound happy. Hank wanted to go to him quickly, but Coochie's claws were caught in his sweater. Coochie, let go. Papa's calling. You know I can't take you in the front room, Hank said. One by one, he got the kitten's little black claws out of his sweater. Down you go. I'll be right back. Hank gently put Coochie on the kitchen floor, patted the top of her head, and turned toward the door of the front room. Papa's voice grew louder. Hank, why don't you come? Can't you hear me calling you? What had he done wrong? Papa's gruff voice made Hank feel a little scared. Here I come, Papa. Coochie was caught in my sweater. Leave Coochie. Come now. Hank opened the door just wide enough to squeeze through. He quickly closed it behind him so Coochie couldn't sneak by. But what was this? Papa wasn't alone. A man and a woman were sitting on the good sofa. They looked at Hank. Hank slipped his hand into Papa's when he reached his side. He didn't take his eyes off the strange people on the sofa. They stood up. Oh no! Were they coming over to him? The man's clothes looked odd. He was wearing a dark suit, a white shirt and tie, and small leather shoes with laces. He was very thin. His suit looked much too big for him. Here comes the woman. Her high heels clacked. Oh, you know this song. Clacked on the wooden floor. Mama never wore noisy shoes like that in the house. She always left her wooden shoes next to Papa's by the front door. She wore slippers when she was inside. Hank hid his face behind Papa's leg. He was afraid the woman would try to kiss him. He only let Mama kiss him. Papa's rough wool pants felt good against Hank's cheek. He would wear clothes just like Papa's one day. He curled his arm around Papa's leg and pressed his face against it. Hank, let go of my leg. Listen to me. I have something important to tell you, Papa said. His voice was soft and gentle again. Hank didn't move. He didn't want to hear anything important from Papa in front of these people. Then Hank felt strong hands on his shoulders, turning his body away from Papa's leg. He had to look at the man and the woman again. Their skin was pale. Were they sick? Hank stared at their sad, dark eyes. Hank, these people are your mother and father. Can you shake hands with them? No! Hank put his hands behind his back. Who did Papa say they were? Coochie was scratching at the door. Poor Coochie, Hank thought. She is lonely for me. He wanted to go to her, but what had Papa just said? The noisy scratching probably made him hear it wrong. What did you say, Papa? Hank looked up at him. Papa crouched down. Now Hank could look right into his eyes. Why did they look so wet? Papa cleared his throat. Turn around, Hank, and meet your parents. Papa said. Hank covered his ears. Papa pulled Hank's hands down and spoke again. His voice was husky. Shake hands like I have taught you. No, Hank cried, still looking into Papa's eyes. You are my Papa. Tell these people to go away. He was shouting now. Hank was hoping to see Papa's eyes crinkle up with laughter. This must be a joke. No, Papa's eyes stayed wide open and serious. Hank felt like bats were flying around in his stomach. He turned and ran to the door, shouting as he ran, No, no, no! Tell them to go away! You are my Papa! You are my Papa! You are my Papa! Cootie is my cat! Mama is my mama! He opened the door, scooped up Cootie, and held her close to his chest. He could hear Papa say, It's my fault. I told him too suddenly. Hank slammed the door. Then he pressed his ear to the closed door. The woman was crying. Papa was talking. I tried to tell him many times during the past weeks that you were coming, who you were, who we were, but I couldn't, Papa said. It never seemed the right time. I thought when he saw you, he would remember you, and then it would be easier. I'm sorry. I've made it so difficult, and now we are all crying. Papa blew his nose. Then the man said, Don't blame yourself. After all you have done for us, we are alive today only because of you. After all, there is no easy way. I'm sure that when we are home and Benjamin has met his little brother, he will feel better. The voices continued, but Hank didn't want to hear any more. He buried his face in Cootie's fur and sat down on the cushion in front of the fireplace. If only Mama were home, he thought. He closed his eyes and tried to forget about everything that he had just heard, but questions kept lightening up inside his head like fireflies in a dark summer night. Why had Papa said that he had other parents? When had Papa tried to tell him this? Hank tried to remember. Why were these people here today? Why was everyone crying? Even Papa. Who was Benjamin? It was quiet and warm in the kitchen in front of the fireplace. Cootie lay very still in Hank's arms. The only sounds were the kitten's purring and the crackling of the fire. Time passed. Hank started to shiver. The fire had gone out, and Cootie's fur was cold and wet where Hank's face had been buried. Papa was sitting next to him in front of the fireplace. He took Hank's hand in his. It's time for you to leave us, Hank, Papa whispered. Wow, that is the end of chapter 1. That is a lot of story in just 7 pages. So when it's time to do the questions from the study guide, there's going to be some that are kind of easy, and there's going to be some that are a little bit trickier. So one of the questions is just going to ask, who's Cootie? And so Cootie has a funny spelling name, or funny spelled name. Look at that. I think it's Dutch. So it has that funny little J in there, but we say Cootie, right? So it's going to ask, who's Cootie? And I think you will figure that out, or you know who that is. But then there are some other questions that are a little bit tricky you're going to have to think about. For instance, let's do one. It says, the strangers in the house are described as thin and pale. Do you remember what that means to be pale? Yeah, if you're pale, it means your skin is whiter than normal. It means you don't have your bright cheeks or your nice normal color. You're more white, like maybe you're sick. Hank wondered if they were sick. So wonder why he would think that. Why would the people be thin and pale? Maybe they are sick, right? So that's something to think about. Anyway, there's a few other questions that are going to be in this study guide. So if you understand that first chapter pretty well, then answer your questions. And if you're not sure about it, go back and read it again or listen one more time. Okay, I'll see you for chapter 2.